Welcome to Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, a special segment of the Daily Parks and Rec Show, where we explore mental health, well-being, and the positive impact parks and recreation have on building stronger, healthier communities. Hosted by Thomas White, join us every first Wednesday of the month at 1:30 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations, real stories, and practical insights that help create safe places for everyone. In this episode, we discuss how creating supportive workplaces can improve mental health, embrace neurodiversity, reduce stigma, and inspire stronger, healthier communities. Join us as we explore practical strategies for fostering environments where everyone feels valued and empowered.
Welcome, America, to Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, where we talk to you about the real mental health issues that all of us deal with, whether we want to admit it or not. The truth is, we all struggle with things. We all have things that weigh on us. Safe Spaces and Green Spaces is about encouraging government bodies to create a workplace environment in which their employees do not have to feel stigmatized by their mental health issues that they may be dealing with, by their neurodivergency, by I am severely ADHD. I have that neurodivergent trait very, very hard. And when I worked in my old career, it was our way or the highway, that's it. So I had to mask to comply. Now that I work with Henry County Parks and Recreation, we have created an environment here. I was so stunned when I got here. We have created an environment in which people can be themselves, and it has unleashed creativity and innovation at a completely different level than ever before. And it is all because we have an open environment where people can be themselves, free of the stigma that people often receive because of their mental health struggles. That's what Safe Spaces and Green Spaces is about. And we have a very special guest on today. This is the first time that I have branched into another sector of government. We've had people on here that are not out of parks, that are not in Parks and Recreation, but this is a completely different sector of government. And I can't wait to have her on here. And you're going to hear all about her. But before we do that, let's talk about what shows we have on the DPRS Media Network. Can we put up the show list? Every single day, except for on the Fridays, Monday through Thursday, we have our founder, the great Craig the Doorman LeBlanc, hosting the Leadership Series at 12 p.m. Eastern, talking to some of the greatest leaders in Parks and Recreation across the nation. More than likely, you or someone you know have been on that show or will be on the show soon, and that is amazing. We want you to get your voice out there to talk about the great work that Parks and Recreation are doing. We are a stronger community when we talk with each other, when we share with each other. All of us have benefited from that at some point. On Mondays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, we have the Parks and Tech Collective with Allie, and that's where you get the deep dive. That's where you find out what's next on the horizon. What are the technologies we're using now, and what's coming down the pipeline, and what can it do to streamline your organization? Of course, we've got Smart Parks Forward with Outdoor Links. Great Dave Ramirez. Dave, I love the guy. Met him at an airport, long story. Not even knowing that we were both connected with DPRS and doing shows on DPRS. And then, of course, Tuesdays at 1:30, you've got the most organized and factual show on our consistently factual show on the DPRS Media Network, and that's John Prue on the front line. And then every first and second Wednesday of the every first and third Wednesday of the month. I'm sorry, I don't even know what my own podcast is Safe Spaces and Green Spaces, where we talk right to you from Henry County, Georgia, about how we created a work environment in which people can be themselves, free of that stigma. Check in with my entire leadership team or different people from different parts of our leadership team with the Rec Room every second Wednesday of the month. And my favorite new show on the network, and that is Beatrice's first and third Wednesdays of the month at 3:00 p.m., Arts in the Park, where we talk about culture and arts in these green spaces that we all love and cultivate. Youth Sports Mastery with Aaron's at 1:30 on Thursdays, followed by the Young Professionals Network with Craig and a host of young professionals that come on talking about how they are changing the way that Parks and Rec is done, and they are our future. The exciting Dr. Pepper Social Club with Papa J. Skinner on Friday at 12 p.m. will keep you entertained and interested. I promise that. Followed by 1:30, the Aquatics Life. Wesley King is the aquatics expert. If you have any questions about aquatics, that's where you find us. Remember to watch us live here on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you can follow all the podcasts that are on DPRS Media Network on YouTube and Spotify. Let's pay some bills.
Art has the power to transform spaces, to inspire communities, to tell stories that connect us to one another. Across parks, public spaces, and gathering places around the world, creativity is bringing people together in new and meaningful ways. From murals and sculptures to music, dance, theater, and cultural celebrations, the arts help turn ordinary places into extraordinary experiences. Because Parks and Recreation isn't only about facilities and programs. It's about creating places where people belong, places where culture thrives, places where imagination comes to life. Welcome to Arts in Parks and Rec, the show that explores the people, projects, and creative ideas shaping the future of arts and culture in parks and public spaces. Hosted by Beatriz Eugenia Vázquez. Together, we'll discover how the arts strengthen communities, inspire engagement, and help create vibrant places for everyone. This is Arts in Parks and Rec, a DPRS Media Network original, where creativity meets community.
Wow, that is my favorite podcast on there, the one that you just saw up there. I absolutely love Beatrice's show. Look at my collar. It's already flipping up again. Audience across America, I've been having issues with this collar all day. I'm never wearing this shirt again. I say that every time I wear this shirt. Anyway, that's not important. You guys have already heard about me. What we want to hear about is the great Courtney Mixon. Am I saying that right, Courtney Mixon? And Courtney, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. Let's hear from you first. Tell us about Courtney.
Okay. So first of all, my lovely assistant, my cat, has decided that she would like to be in the show. So that's
awesome. What's your cat's name?
This is Ivy. She's my blind, toothless rescue. She got no idea where she is at all times.
Wow.
So if you see her, if she falls, that's what's happening. And she's a very important part of my life. But a little bit about me. I did grow up, not to beat to the point, but I did grow up in the 4-H program, which is the division of the extension service that I work for now. So, started.
It's okay. We have a deep love for 4-H. On the other side of my wall right now is the 4-H office. Probably about 30 yards away here in Fulton County is the 4-H office.
I'm at Charleston all the time.
Yeah, we got connected through Lauren Pike, who was the 4-H agent here, and Lauren and I have stayed in touch. In fact, I asked her to be a guest on the show, and she said, I just am not an authority on this, but Courtney would be great. So that's how that came about.
Oh, yes. I love Lauren. But yeah, so Lauren and she also grew up in 4-H. So I kind of grew up in this organization that I work with now, but I had an interesting route to it because as most professionals, I didn't plan to become a 4-H agent or work with Extension. And I kind of work with Extension in a way that is a little bit non-traditional, a little bit different. So I'll kind of talk about those things. But as far as my career journey, I grew up in 4-H. I was a camp counselor at our summer camps and just fell in love with working with youth and helping them develop their interests. And over time, I, went to UGA, got my undergrad in agricultural education, took a lot
I'm
of
beginning to think all 4-H people, that's all they want to do is agricultural education.
We just want to hang out with kids and like do cool things.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up in that world. Again, I didn't mean to, it just kind of happened. And I had this really transformative experience in my freshman year. I randomly ended up in a service learning course at UGA under Dr. Catherine Tierketter in the Marine Sciences Department. And I ended up doing her service learning course where we took marine mammals into the classroom, and primarily invertebrates, sometimes mammals, but into the classrooms in Athens, Clarke County, where a lot of students had never interacted with the ocean or learned any of those things. And so we were creating these hands-on experiences in the classroom. And she was like, hey, can you come back and be my TA? And then, hey, can you come do this research project? And she just really directed my undergrad. And I got to do a lot of really unique things, graduated my ag ed degree. And I did teach agricultural education in Athens for 1 year before I moved. So not a ton of time, but 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But I knew that traditional classroom setting wasn't for me. And not to say it will never be for me again, but
I completely understand.
Yeah.
Teachers have
And when we get into the mental health aspect of that, I'm sure we'll touch on those things. But
yeah, my wife was a teacher for 11 years. We can go deep into that. So.
Yeah, my parents taught. They just retired. They were in the system for 36 years.
Wow, I cannot imagine.
The whole time.
I cannot imagine. Yeah.
And the face of education is changing. And so I was really drawn, like many 4-H kids, to the hands-on project-based learning. But throughout my time at UGA, when I was in the marine science department, the other thing I was doing is I was leading facilitation classes with the challenge course at UGA. Are you familiar with the Fanning Institute?
Yes.
So I trained under the Fanning Institute and I taught high and low ropes. And I started to learn that the group development dynamics and those non-traditional settings, how they developed people individually and as a team, was of interest to me.
I'm going to ask you to expand on that later.
Yeah. So I was doing those things. I was in the Marine lab. I was teaching. I was having all these excellent experiences. And I was also taking group fitness classes. And
both of mine have already gone off. You're fine.
It's my husband. He's allowed to get through, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was teaching and taking group fitness classes and getting to see over time those direct changes. And so as we left Athens, I ended up going into the kind of the fitness world. So I shifted into teaching. I primarily teach yoga, but I have certifications all across the board and all different things. But I call myself a yoga teacher first. And in teaching group fitness classes, managing fitness businesses through COVID, and spent 2018, 2019 through 2024 heavily in the fitness space. And in 2022, the opportunity to join the Extension service came up, and having served in the Extension service, as a student and as a counselor, I was like, oh, I really believe in this mission. And as I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to determine that helping people in their fitness and wellness journeys, I'm noticing that they're missing skills that they could have acquired as students or as youth. And it's very hard to teach older adults to build the foundational skills from behind, because we have injuries and issues that we want to fix because we haven't learned the basics at a young age. And so when the opportunity to join 4-H and Extension came up, I kind of sat down with our directors and they were like, we don't have a ton of people or hardly anyone that has a health and wellness background, that has a master's degree in health and wellness, that wants to be in that space and is an expert in that space. And so that's kind of the direction we'd like you to go, because 4-H, do you know the 4-H's?
Yeah, 30 feet down the road, the hallway.
Tell me the 4-H's.
Oh, the 4-H's. I thought you asked, do I know what 4-H is? Sorry, no, I do not know the 4-H's. My apologies.
So our 4-H's are...
I was FFA in high school, so, the superior organization.
Good word too.
The superior organization, but it's all good. No, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
We work together is what
Yeah, you guys, both organizations are great.
Yes, and really here in Atlanta, we don't have a ton of FFA presence. Just like,
there's basically none. I grew up on a farm in South Georgia, so FFA was pretty much it.
FFA was probably pretty big. So the 4-H's are head, heart, hands, and health. And so that 4th H, that health H, we don't have a ton of people with expertise in that area. And I won't say it's been neglected, but it definitely hasn't been as robust as it could be. And so when I sat down with our PDC for the Northwest District, when I got hired in 2022, we really talked about health and wellness being the way that I build the framework for urban 4-H and extension. So for anybody out there that doesn't know the basics of extension, because I'm using those words kind of in...
Yeah, please explain. Yeah, definitely.
Extension, there's the University of Georgia College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, and under that, there's the Extension Service. So College of Ag, we have research, teaching, and extension. Research is research, teaching is teaching. Extension is bringing the things we learn in the labs and in the classrooms and research that's developed and sharing that with the public. And so there's three kind of wings of extension, and that's agriculture and natural resources. And that's primarily homeowners, farmers. There's family consumer sciences, that's health, wellness, but primarily adults, seniors, food insecurity, etc. And then there's 4-H. And I always describe 4-H as the youth development arm of FACS and A&R. So the FACS and A&R that they're teaching public programs to adults, we kind of take that same science and adapt it to youth.
Wow.
So
and
that's
sure. What county are you with?
So I'm Fulton County.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. So
you're our neighbors to the north. Actually, I don't know if Henry and Fulton touch. Do they? Yeah, they do. No, Clayton separates them. So
yeah, we're very close to y'all. I used to work a lot with Lauren when she was there, but I'm maybe 30, 45 minutes if traffic isn't.
Yeah, when I lived in North Henry County, I was 20 minutes from downtown. So yeah.
So we're pretty close. But
Henry County traffic can make anything turn into like 3 hours too. So there's no telling about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Fulton, but every county in the state of Georgia, all 159, has somebody from the Extension Service. You may not have a 4-H FACS and A&R. You may have 4-H and A&R. You may have 4-H and FACS. You may have no 4-H and two of the, it depends on the expertise areas of the individuals that are working, because we are faculty in these different networks. So your extension agents are faculty. So we have responsibilities in scholarship and in program.
And extension dates back decades. I can't remember the piece of legislation that Congress passed to create it, but every state has some form of extension.
Yeah.
And UGA runs the one here, right?
Yes. So Smith-Lever Act in 1914 established the Extension Service through all the land grant universities. So if you're in a different state, whatever university is your land grant, they are the ones that operates your extension service. And each extension service is also partnered with the county governments. So I'm partnered with Fulton County government. And so I'm also partnered with the Atlanta History Center in Buckhead.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm the most unique.
I was going to say, that's kind of, you've got 3 different bosses in that case.
It's a weird, I have ADHD.
It works for you. It works for you. I get it.
I love not having this single day being the same thing.
Yeah.
But I do see people.
That's why I love Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I oversee 6 facilities and 130 staff. We have had everything from parties to semi-recs this summer. So it's been, you never know what to expect when you walk in here. So,
my life is like that too. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
You probably have camp going on right now, don't you?
Yes. We just finished.
We do too, as I feel you. I feel you.
Mm-hmm. We're kind of in a little break next week. The 4-Hers that won at their district level contest for their special projects compete at their state level contest next week. Fulton County, we have a student competing in the piano category, so in that arts category, because we're not just agriculture and sustainability. We're very, very, very widespread.
Wow.
So we have that next week up in Sandy Springs. So send our kids some good vibes as they compete. But we're kind of wrapping up the end of summer camp season. We have state congress, which is our big competition for the state level. And then we go back to school in 2 weeks.
I have actually coached a couple of kids in public speaking for some of the 4-H events. In fact, one's an intern for me right now.
Oh, wow.
Ones I coached back in 2023.
Now I'm wondering who it is because I probably know them.
Savannah Keller.
Savannah. I was wondering if it was Savannah.
Yep, I love Savannah Keller and her sister Sarah Kate both work with us right now.
That's awesome.
In fact, Savannah was on this podcast earlier in the month.
Oh, I need to go back and look.
Yeah, I didn't tell her that she was going to do it until about 10 minutes before the podcast. So.
Oh, and I'm sure she did fantastic.
Oh, she did absolutely outstanding. She did absolutely outstanding. I had her and the other intern on here, and they did great.
I think that's the thing that's so cool about this, about Extension and 4-H in particular, is the connections that you make.
Definitely.
I know somebody everywhere.
Right.
I know somebody in every county, not just presently, but growing up in the organization. And I don't know where they're from. Don't tell me a city. I know what county they're from. Oh, they're from Colquitt. Oh, they're from Crisp. Oh, they're from Columbia. Like, I know exactly,
right.
Where
no, hey, I get it. That's kind of our network with Parks and Recreation too. We have the GRPA, our professional association, Georgia Recreation and Park Association, which I actually just got Lauren involved with. We're trying to figure out how to create this pipeline we have a big need for agriculture students. It's a huge thing in park maintenance, the turf science and everything. And I am working with her to try to figure out how we can create a pipeline from UGA to that in the different parks and recreation departments across the nation.
I know with her new role as with the career center department, like that.
Definitely. Yeah. So
an Extension does. They create those kind of connections and building the networks with people with similar interests. And because our kids are allowed to explore the variety of what they're interested in, we're like, oh, I know so-and-so. They can connect you with so-and-so. They get so many, for lack of a better term, like opportunities to network.
Definitely.
High school. Definitely. It's crazy.
And that's how we know each other. So Parks and Rec, it's very similar. We all feed off each other. We do things together. We know each other very well. Our professional association is very active. So I know people across the state. And if I need something, no matter where I'm at, I probably know someone in that area. So that works. In fact, there were 3 different directors down at the beach I was at this weekend, and none of us knew. We all posted photos. We were all within 10 minutes of each other and had no clue. But anyway, let's talk about your degree, your studies, because you have a master's in, I know, right there you go. Yeah, Saoirse or Toby. Those are my Saoirse and Toby Ziegler. Those are my cats. And they would normally be up here, but I'm from my office right now, my office at Heritage Park. But let's talk about your degree. Let's go into your master's.
Yeah. So here's my tagline. Here's what I tell people. It's funny. I say that my studies are farm to table to toilet.
Okay, I got to know more about that.
I know it's really bad, but it sums it up really nicely. I, in undergrad, learned the farm to table aspect, the sustainability. I did do a lot of research in marine sciences and just the foundational principles. I know a lot of fun facts about snails. Okay. And that's not super relevant, but the ag education part of it, the farm to table, helping develop students, and then the table to toilet. My master's degree is in integrative health and wellness. And that degree, we studied kind of the intersection of behavioral psychology, self-determination, self-efficacy theory, and lifestyle medicine, both Eastern, non-traditional or ancient practices, and how the research we're doing now is explaining why the wisdom of those cultural practices is so effective.
Wow, and I would love to hear more about that. We need to have you on the show a second time to talk about just that.
I would love that. And then Western medicine. So what, like, how do we build the lifestyle changes, the minute things that we can change, partnered with what medical interventions, how to translate the language of doctors and nurses into what more people in the public can understand,
Right.
and then how we effectively communicate that using behavioral psychology, SCT and SCT, to make those translations of medical science more approachable.
Wow. Okay.
It was really cool.
You just opened up a can of worms. I want to dive into it, but we just don't have time. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break and come back to the second half where we're going to get into the topic of mental health in the workplace. I want to hear about your experiences, your thoughts on it. And we're going to start it with the premise. We usually end about 50 minutes into the show. So I want us to take a break so we'll have the full uninterrupted time. Joey, if you could go ahead and take us to our mid-break.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the Daily Parks and Rec Show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
They say it's just rec. Just rec, where kids learn to try again. Just rec, where confidence begins. Where teamwork, effort, and fun matter more than trophies. It's not about perfection. It's about participation. It's not just rec. It's where kids learn to love the game and themselves. It's just rec until they learn teamwork for life. It's just rec, but it's everything to them. It's more than rec. It's a movement. It's just rec until you realize it's shaping the next generation. Together, we're not just running programs. We're building a culture of confidence, connection, and community. Join us.
All right. And am I unmuted? Okay, yeah. All right. We are back, everybody, with Courtney Mixon, the wonderful 4-H agent there in Fulton County, and with UGA. We can't wait to hear more about her. We got a lot of information for the first half, and I had to stop myself from going into a deep dive on just the psychology and health and how we're communicating health. And I especially like the Eastern, Western, and how they link together. That has been a big proponent. I have been a big proponent of that things that were done in the past do not necessarily mean that they were archaic. It just means that they had a limited understanding at the time, but that foundation is there behind why they did that. There's a reason that they had that understanding. They just didn't have the terms that we use now to explain it. Mm-hmm. And I've been a big proponent of that. But again, that's a whole different show.
Different day. Yeah, I can joke on that.
Yeah. We're going to go into deep dive on another episode of that. But first, the purpose of this show is the safe spaces and green spaces. At Henry County Parks and Recreation, we have created an environment where our team feels comfortable in being themselves. Now, that often means that we have flexible schedules. People are coming in at different times, leaving at different times. We're open to talking about what we deal with. In fact, every morning we start with talking about the things. It's called our breakfast club, where we talk about the things that we're going through, what we're dealing with, what our plans for that day, and a variety of other topics. And it has allowed us to do three things. One, we have formed a connection with each other where we are probably more comfortable than most government office places in being ourselves around other people that are with us. That's one. Two, we are able to support each other when we're going through tough times. We can tell when someone else is going for a tough time. They don't feel like they have to hide it. They feel like they can ask for help. And then three, people mask a lot less when it's just us. Now, when the public comes in, that's a different story. But when it's just us working together, the masks are dropped a lot more. It's never completely dropped. Everyone masks to a certain degree. You have ADHD. You understand the mask that you have to put up, especially in certain environments. But because people don't have to focus on that mask all the time, it frees up, in my opinion, creativity and innovation, more brain power to focus on that creativity and innovation. And they are comfortable expressing themselves, being themselves, and following whatever off-the-wall ideas they may have at the time. And because of that, we have been able to go from a regional department in South Atlanta to one of the most well-known parks and recreation departments in the nation, all within a 5-year period. And it's all because of that, because of the environment we created. Our leaders have allowed us to be ourselves. They encourage us to talk, to let them know what's going on and to be ourselves. And they're vulnerable with us in return. So your thoughts. You see where I'm coming from. So your thoughts.
Yeah. So kind of taking off my 4-H and youth development hat and putting on my scholarly hat. The other kind of element of my master's degree was looking at wellness programs in the workplace and effectiveness and things like that. But I think, again, taking off my 4-H agent hat, looking objectively at the extension service, similar to what you're talking about with Parks and Rec, there's one thing about extension that I think might surprise a lot of people, and that is that our attrition rate is about 50%. 50% of extension faculty across the state of Georgia leave in the first 5 years.
Wow.
If you might know another,
that kind of matches education's attrition rate. So,
I was literally about to say,
right.
There might be another thing that you're familiar with that has a similar attrition rate. And there's lots of reasons for that, but I think one of those reasons, and I know, one of those reasons is what kind of space is created within that extension workspace. And there are offices across our state that are ran in different ways. And we actually get to see from an outer standpoint which offices are strengthened by their development of community within the office and which offices, just have maybe more challenges with that space. And in Atlanta in particular, we're particularly unique in Fulton County because instead of having one office, we have 4.
Wow. I never heard of another extension agency like that. So
because we're the only one.
Gotcha. Okay.
We have 4 because the span of our county is so large. And so Fulton County has to operate a little bit differently than the other counties. Now, part of that is because we have a public-private partnership with the Atlanta History Center. So my office is actually just me and then all of our extension and then all of our AHC staff. So I work closely with them on their projects. I still do all of the 4-H responsibilities that I have. I still do research and scholarly work. I head up a national committee. I work on, all those things. And then our South office houses kind of the most amount of people, and the top office, the Sandy Springs office, houses a decent amount of people. And then we also have a camp at Camp Truett in College Park. So we're very spread out. And so our team has to work together, hybrid, wherever we are, wherever we're doing. And it actually kind of poses some challenges with I only see certain ones of my coworkers in my actual county at certain times. We have to be really flexible. We have to be really, hey, let's meet up at this place because it's halfway between where you are and where I am. And I think what that has created is exactly what you're talking about. We leave the office. We go see each other in other community spaces. We might see each other like, hey, let's meet at this coffee shop because I don't have an hour and a half to drive to College Park and you don't have an hour and a half to drive to Alpharetta.
Right.
So let's meet here, and we see each other in different spaces. And that's a way that we build community in that way. But office and workplace wellness, we know that creating the community, creating the space where people feel safe and held and supported reduces attrition rates.
Yes.
And with everything being about dollars and money, when she is distracting me so bad.
It's okay. I promise. The audience is loving it. America is good to go with the cat.
But we know that when we reduce our attrition rates, it costs less. We don't have to spend money replacing people. We don't have to spend money retraining people. And having that unique ability to meet each other where we are and grow community and know each other outside of like 4 walls and a desk, I think has strengthened our team in Fulton County to be able to work together collaboratively on creative and innovative projects. And let's knock on wood over here, but our office has been intact since we all came onto the team around the same time. And I think that also kind of helps. But
I mean, that's rare with an extension agency because I can just look at the one that we have here and the numbers have changed a lot. I mean, that's rare in local government, period. But
and part of that does, you have to consider with government and things, you have funding might change if somebody's grant
that sort of thing,
partnership funded, research funded, those things do shift. But in Fulton, we've actually been able to strengthen our numbers since I came onto the team, which is not something you see super often.
No, you do not.
I think with something like an extension service and government as a whole, when people come into the workplace, it's not sit down, learn how to do your job, execute your job, you're good to go. Things are shifting. We have to be innovative. We have to be creative. Last year, this project had this much budget. This year, this project has not the same amount of budget. We have to completely adjust to things. And so if you can't be flexible, that's going to be a challenge for you. And so being able to...
And you guys have to have next level flexibility because with me, I just have to deal with the county's budget. That's it. You have to deal with whatever the county, the state, and I'm assuming the historical group as well comes through with. So
yes. Yeah. So, but I think that's so funny because if you put a group of all of the 4-H agents across the state that have been in the role for a certain amount of time and you violated HIPAA and asked who had ADHD, I think very many of the people who make it past that 55-year, 50% jump, I think
the very next thing I was about to tell you, the very next thing is in Parks and Recreation, we have a higher than normal proportion of our staff has some sort of neurodivergency. It just appeals to us. The constant stimulation, the different things, it appeals to us. And I said, I bet you extension is the same way. That is literally what I was about to say.
So advertisement for anybody out there who's like, I don't know if I can find a space that I can fit in or work well in. Extension, Parks and Rec, things where you're developing innovative ideas. Like that is the type that we need people like us. Definitely. But on that same note, I will say that I see it in my own household. I have ADHD and OCD, and very all over the place. I love a TED Talk. I love a rabbit hole. I love a book. If you ask me I'm sitting around piles of books. I love to learn. My husband is neurotypical, smart, kind, caring, needs to be in an office every day, needs to be in the same setting, needs to follow the same schedule. He thinks my job is a nightmare. And sure, some days it's hard. Like sometimes at summer camp, I'm like, y'all, I've been here 80 hours. I have slept one night.
I'm counting down. I've got a week and a half left. I'm counting down. Officially at 1 o'clock today, it was a week and a half left. So I am counting down. I get it.
The best things happen at summer camp, don't they?
They really do. They really do. Like that's where you see the impact most, I feel. Or rather, I see the direct impact most with these kids every day.
Because you see them throughout the entire time from where they started to where they finished. I mean, it's incredible.
I walk in a room and kids just run up and hug me and I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't remember you.
An impact in that way.
Yeah.
And, those are the things that help with attrition, wellness programs, opportunities, supporting people. So the other kind of aspect of the extension service that I'm curious to hear if y'all have anything similar, but we have something we call professional scheduling. So we, as faculty members, so agents are faculty, educators are not. So we have extra layers of things we have to do and research, dossier, whatever. But as faculty, we have something called professional scheduling where, like last week I was at summer camp we do residential summer camps as well. So not just our day camps. So I was at a residential all week. And you don't sleep. You don't eat, you're running around. And as the adults at the camp, we have counselors that are there to ensure that there's fun, but we are kind of there for safety and discipline. So I'm filling out paperwork and running meds and taking people to the nurse and doing kind of the more intensive things in that manner. But summer camp is very, very intense. And so you can imagine that 8 a.m. on Monday is like not an ideal time to be back in the office. So most of our offices kind of run on that flexible, like, listen, I was at summer camp all last week. I don't teach a class until 2 o'clock on Monday. I'm going to sit at home and like answer some emails and eat a slow breakfast and then go teach my 2 o'clock class at the library or whatever.
It's the same with us, but I think that's what allowed me to flourish the way that I have in Parks and Rec, honestly, which don't get me wrong. I was successful with the prison system too. I was acting chief of security was my last assignment, but with Parks and Rec, I was really able to take that to the next level. My very first day, my boss, Jonathan Penn, he's a great leader, and his philosophy appealed to me from the moment, because my very first day he came and he said, look, I don't care when you work, as long as you get your job done and you answer the phone when I need you. I'm still working on the answering the phone part, but the first part of it I got right. I've got right. So my schedule, and I tell my staff the same thing. Obviously, people running the front desk and things like that, like they have to have schedules at the rec centers and everything that they stick to it. But we still allow them some degree of flexibility then. But the full-time staff that's in it every day, that are doing the events, that are doing the classes and the programs, we understand you're not going to be in the office 8 to 5. It's just not going to happen. I oversee 4 rec centers, a classroom facility, and a tennis center. The rec centers don't close until 9 o'clock during the week. Technically, my day ends at 5. I don't know of a single time that my day has ever ended at 5 o'clock. Yeah, in fact, I went on vacation, I guess it was 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And so I also run our social media. It's not technically part of my job. What's that?
It's a whole separate job.
Yeah, and it's not actually part of my job description, but the job I had before this one, I didn't want to give up the social media because I'd worked so hard to grow it. So I just held on to it. So we actually did the math. It was either 1,715 days or 1,719 days straight that I had not checked our social media at least one time. So when I said that, when I wasn't looking, they took my cell phone and computer and hid it from me and would not give it back to me until I got back. I don't know why they thought that would work. I was logged in on my personal stuff too, but they made a point. That was the only way that I could unplug, because that's the downside of the flexible schedule.
The high achievers, ADHD and our neurodivergency typically has some comorbidity with the high achieving. And that's where the masking comes along. And I have gone and been in a lot of therapy for this. And because I, like many 20-year-olds, like my first job that wasn't teaching was very intense. They expected a lot out of me, and I was young and didn't know how to set a boundary. And one time I was at Disney World and they were like, you got to come home right now. And I was like, so we left Disney World and I came home. Like, we set ourselves up in wanting to have a successful career, and we push ourselves out these boundaries, and then we burn out. And so something that's been helpful for me working with my therapist who I got through the UGA KEPRA program, which is where they kind of like match you with somebody. She's fantastic. But one thing she kind of explained to me, I got diagnosed with ADHD. I did the test, and my psychiatrist looks at the test and she's like, this is the worst one I've ever seen. Like, this is ridiculous.
That's very similar to the psychiatrist's conversation with me. So that's good.
She was like, and this went undetected? And I was like, I feel like the signs were there. Yeah. I don't know. My parents say she was just a little odd. The signs were there. There.
No, I had known for years, but my parents had always said, that's not really a thing. It's not. That was their view. Of course, they don't view that now. But
right. Well, they didn't know.
Back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, growing up, early 2000s, it was much more of a doubt behind whether or not this was real, that sort of thing, the stigma.
Yes.
Now that has changed.
I was born in 95. I'm 30, almost 31. So yeah, same here. I do definitely, they know now, like there's so much more discussion about it, and that's why we got to keep talking about it. Just like
definitely, that's the point of this podcast.
Keep talking about it. One of the key things my therapist said to me that I was like, girl, you just rewired my brain chemistry. I had always adapted and created systems to make me fit into what was expected. I was the planner system, computer, everything written down, type A, write it all. And I was like, I have to do it this way because that's the way it's always been done. And my therapist was like, no, you create systems that make the things that you have to get done work for you, not change you to fit into the system that doesn't work and shouldn't be that way. Right. And the way our world works and the way capitalism is, that's not always, can't always change everything. But looking at the systems and seeing what doesn't work for me. I work late a lot because 4-H, we work in the evenings. We work in the afternoons. I hate waking up in the mornings. I'm not going to and I am a yoga teacher and I do teach yoga as well. And I am teaching some early morning classes coming up in the next semester, but send help. But I'm not a morning person. And 4-H, the kids are in school. Like sometimes I'm at their schools too, but in Atlanta, it really depends on what's going on. So knowing that I'm working late, I'm not waking up early in the morning, or I'm adjusting that as I need, and then creating systems rather than adapting to my planner, finding a different system that actually works for me rather than like trying to fit into the ways that all the type A organized people that don't have ADHD or are neurotypical, like their world just isn't the world that I live in. And we just at some point have to acknowledge that, or you burn out.
It does. And that's exactly what happened to me in 2023. But we're not here to talk about me, so I'm not going to talk about me again. We are definitely going to have, because we only have 2.5 minutes left. So we are definitely going to have you on a second episode. We would love to have you back in August. We'll talk dates and we'll figure that out. But we have got to learn so much more about you and so much more about your thoughts. This has been probably my favorite episode so far. This was just...
We haven't even tapped into my family coffee shop.
Oh, family coffee shop. Wow.
More.
Okay. I did not see that coming. All right. So I didn't see that. And what I want to ask you, I've got 2 questions. One, I want you to tell us what we're about to end the show. We've got 2 minutes left. What do you want people to be left with from what you've talked about today?
Okay. I think the last point that I made is a big one, but I also think trying new things is the only way you find out what systems don't work for you, what they do work for you. you may have to ruffle some feathers and try some things that you're uncomfortable with. You may have to go to that art studio that just opened down the street with people you've never met before, because while work is one of our communities, and hopefully your workplace is supporting you and doing the things that it should do to ensure that the community is growing within that network, you also need a third space network. And so I think coffee shops are a great third space. That's kind of the origin story behind that with us.
That's my dream, to own a coffee shop when I retire. But anyway, keep going.
We can talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, finding that third space, that extra community, that yoga studio, that fitness class, that whatever, sauna studio, they're free options, that Parks and Rec place that you go every week for a walk and you start to see the same people. We have to start intentionally creating that community through the discomfort and through the uncertainty in order to have a life outside of the workplace, so that while your workplace should be doing these things and should be helping, hopefully, if they are, that's fantastic. If they're not, you have another network of support as well. And so community development, your extension service is there to help you grow your community. And so if you've never been into your local extension office, give us a call, shout out, say hey. Deep dive onto our social media that I'm terrible at keeping track of, but that's what we're there for. And I'd encourage people to check out your Parks and Rec and check out your extension service.
That is awesome. And we're into the last few seconds. So I just want to ask you one question. Give us the facts about snails. One fact about snails that we need to know.
Predatory snails.
What is a predatory? We don't have time. I got to know though.
Look up predatory snails.
All right. In August, we're talking about predatory snails. Everybody, the whole point of this podcast is to learn to be yourself and create environments. You can be the leader right now to create that environment in your workplace where people can be themselves, to be innovative, to be creative, and to be who they are meant to be. Thank you for listening to Safe Spaces and Green Spaces on the Daily Parks and Rec Show Media Network.
The future of parks and recreation isn't coming, it's already here. Across communities everywhere, technology is transforming how parks connect, engage, and serve the people who rely on them. From smart amenities and connected infrastructure to real-time data and innovative solutions, a new generation of parks is taking shape. Welcome to Smart Parks Forward, presented by DPRS Media Network and co-produced by Outdoor Link. Each episode brings you the leaders, innovators, and visionaries driving the future of parks and recreation. Discover groundbreaking ideas, real-world success stories, and the technologies helping agencies create safer, smarter, and more connected communities. Because great parks don't just improve spaces, they improve lives. The future is connected. The future is intelligent. The future is now. This is Smart Parks Forward.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders. An audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention.